Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Cay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened Evolution with Cay and Christina. This week, we are talking about rest and rejuvenation without the guilt. This is something that Cay and I talk about personally in our lives all the time. We both have this innate sense of guilt that comes anytime we decide to rejuvenate ourselves, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, do you think, and I was wondering for you, because I know exactly where my guilt came from with this. Do you think you know what kind of put this guilt in you anytime you try to rest or relax?
Motherhood.
Being a mother. Okay.
Just being a mom on top of taking care of a household completely by myself, on top of nursing school, and now being a nurse. I always had to, and I was unconsciously developing this mindset. It was like, okay, there's stuff in the house that still needs to be cleaned up. There's errands that still need to be run. I still need to spend time with my kids. I still need to study. Now I still need to get up and go to work. I still need to meal prep. Like there's all these things I constantly need to be doing. And I was depleting myself tremendously. So I don't know. I just think that I've placed this huge emphasis of productivity on myself in the past. And now I'm good at it. That's why I'm happy we're doing this topic, because I feel like I've mastered my rest and rejuvenation. I will cancel plans. I will just not make plans. It's just like, no, this is what I'm prioritizing is my rest, my recharging.
So there wasn't ever like any external forces you feel like that were kind of making you feel guilty for that?
No, it was all me.
Not even like society or anything?
Society, I think yes, because we live in such a fast-paced culture that I would say in the past I allowed friends to be like, well, what are you doing this weekend? It's like, and then deep down, like I really didn't want to go out and do anything. Like I really just wanted to stay home and like read my book and drink my coffee with my cat or something. And I haven't seen you in forever. You can go out for one drink. Or so in that aspect, yes, I allowed pressure to be put on me, and I would alter my plans to make them happy, because and then so it was like guilt, like, well, they are right. Like I don't get to spend much time with them and I do have the day off. I could just go out for one drink. So like I justified, not choosing rest in the past, but now I will just turn my phone off.
I love that.
I'm on D&D like 90% of the time.
That's awesome. Definitely for me, it was an external, like, since I can remember. And I wanted to ask my mom, and I didn't ask her before this where she got it from, but I got it, of course, from my mom. I know I mentioned her so much on this podcast, but in our household, and I understand to a degree, anytime she was home, there was no resting. If you were seen sitting on the couch or sitting doing some, like not doing anything, you would be yelled at. And why aren't you doing this? You could be doing this. You could be doing that. So there was this huge shift when I was home with my dad, with my grandma. Things were peaceful. I could be creative. I could rest and things. And then that drop in my gut as soon as my mom got home, because I knew she was going to start screaming. She was going to say, why haven't you done this, and this? As a kid, I did not deserve that, and I did not understand it. But I understand now as an adult that my mom had a partner that was not pulling their weight, and she was doing everything. So for her, she just came home frustrated. And her frustration was with my dad, but she took it out on everyone, unfortunately. So like I see where it came from. Unfortunately, we were not really allowed to rest as kids, but I wonder for her where it came from. I know that like I think it came
Was your
from
grandma
her.
like that? Was your
No, my grandma Mm-mm. But my grandma didn't take care of them. And so my mom from a very young age had to be the adult in the family because my grandpa
Mhm.
was working, my grandma was doing who knows what. And so I think because she had to be an adult so young and she always had to be the one to take care of everything, she just like ran with that. And it just manifested the way it did. But I know adults, my husband, who has no problem resting and relaxing, which he has inspired me. And really, our relationship has helped me to have a better relationship with rest and relaxation because he does it so effortlessly. And I'm
Mhm.
like, aren't you concerned that there's 4 things of laundry that need to be done and that we need to power wash the house and that the tiles are leaking in the bathroom? Like all of the things.
Yeah. That's good. Do you
Yes.
get
So I
upset and frustrated
appreciate
with him?
that.
Do you feel like he rests too much?
In the beginning of our relationship, it was definitely a struggle for me. And then I had to look at it and say, like, what am I really frustrated with right now? Am I frustrated that my mind will not stop telling me that I have to do all these things and that I innately have this feeling of I'm going to be in trouble if everything is not perfect.
Mhm.
And and that's when Jordan and I had that conversation of, look, if I have a day off, I'm going to be cleaning. I need everything to be in its place and be clean for me to feel like I can even remotely relax. And for him, he doesn't have that feeling. And so I explained to him, like, when things are out of order, it makes me feel like I'm going to be in trouble, even though I know there's nobody that's going to come through the door and yell at me. I just
Yeah.
have this sense in my head. And so it's been I would say, like, maybe a compromise, but he has learned what's important to me. And so he will ask me, like, if he sees me starting to clean something, he's like, what can I do to help you? And if I say nothing, then that's okay for him to go and do whatever he wants to do. And I have had to be better at actually saying what I need. Well, actually, you could
Mhm.
go empty the litter boxes. Could you go do this? So that is something that is still a work in progress for sure. But I don't feel the animosity there, which is good.
That is good. Uh, yeah, it seems like you had to create boundaries within yourself to tell yourself you're allowed to rest, and, like, the world's not gonna fall
Absolutely.
apart if you take a day to do that. I think COVID really helped me take
Yeah.
take time to rest. We could do nothing but rest during that time
Yeah,
inside the
that's
house.
true.
So I think during that time, I mean, it's changed the world so much, but I almost appreciated it, like, the working from
It
home,
was
being
a
at
huge
home. I
it
did
was a
all
huge
schoolwork
reset
at
for a
home.
lot of
It
people.
it was, and not that I miss that, but I do not miss having to, like, be so like, you could wake up and just log onto your computer and get ready in, like, 5, 10 minutes for school, or it was
Mhm.
for me, it was for school, and I didn't ever had to leave. Now it's like you have to wake up I gotta wake up 2 hours early, and I gotta meet at, a certain time frames, and so, I don't know, I really prioritize my rest now just because at work, it's so exhausting, and it takes so much out of me that the next day after I work, it's like I have to use that whole day just to recharge. And
Yeah.
most of my family, like, they understand that now, and then my family really doesn't ask a whole lot of me anyways, but I don't know, I've always allowed my kids to kinda be kids and rest and recharge too. I try to get them to do chores, but I probably could do better about that, like, I would just rather do it all myself because I know it'll get done right, and
Mhm. That's something I struggle with too.
yeah, and so it's like, okay, does it really matter if the towels don't get folded exactly like the way I want them to or something like that, or but, yeah, I think I've balanced that well enough now. I physically couldn't do it anymore. I just going out and just to be like being like entertained or like the entertainment part of life, and on top of working and on top of being a mom. I don't know how I used to do everything. Like I think I burnt myself out. I don't even think it was a choice.
Mhm.
I had to stop.
And I think that's when a lot of people come to the realization is, "Oh, I can't keep going like this," is when you do get burnout and you're like, everything has now fallen apart. We're not meant to be productive 24/7. Even
Mhm.
what is it? We sleep for maybe 8 hours, so 16 hours a day. We're not even meant to be productive for 16 hours a day. You don't even count your sleep as rest. That is the bare minimum of what your body needs, but you should have rest in your awake hours as well. Someone I was looking on TikTok and someone shared something about like microdosing rest and like
Oh, I
just
like that.
starting like just starting with a 5 minute or a 15 minute of I'm going to do something that's restful, whether that's meditation, whether it's sitting and scrolling, that might be restful for you. Going and just sitting in solitude, reading a book, whatever whatever seems restful for you. I remember when I was in nursing school and I wanted to read books so bad, but we had so many books we had to read for nursing school,
Mhm.
and I like could not wait for the moment I was able to read for pleasure. And I consider that like a restful activity.
Yeah.
I found some different tips on how to kind of reframe your mind around rest and productivity. And the first one is to reframe your thought about rest as productive, as see it as a way that you're recharging yourself.
Mhm.
Almost like an electric car. There's a time when you got to, plug in and just fill yourself back up so that you can continue to be productive. If you just go 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 go, your body's going to shut down at some point.
Yeah, I start every day off
So,
with resting. Like, I just sit and have, like, a peaceful moment as soon as I wake up and drink my coffee and kinda meditate or scroll or do whatever, but it's always with very intentional, like, I'm going to take this moment to just relax. I don't just jump up and get ready and start cleaning or, you know.
yeah. I do jump up, but I jump up and then I go and I do yoga and meditate. So, I guess I definitely
But that's
prioritize
still a
that
fo
little
I
10,
still
15
that's a
minutes.
still a form of, like, resting though, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's, rejuvenating
Whatever it means to
myself.
you. Yeah.
Another thing they say is to set boundaries around work. So, whether that is what you're going to do at work, you and I were just talking about that, or for people like me that might have, you have set hours, but they could try to mandate you to stay over or things like that. For me, in like a 9 to 5 world, a lot of people will, and I've done this in the past, overcommit. Yeah, I'll stay past my hours. Yeah, I'll work this late event and all these different things and not flex my time. Now, if I'm working an evening event or a weekend event, I'm taking a day off.
Mhm. Even while I'm at
We're
work,
flexing the
I
time.
yeah, I prioritize kinda, like, recharging at work, even though I just mentioned, like, I
Mm.
could not take a break yesterday, so I had to, like, eat at my station, but I take that time now, like, if I don't drink my water and I don't fuel my body, I will not be any use to anybody and I get, like, bitchy. So, I now take like, I'm going on my break and I'll do the stairs and try to clear my head and just, like, walk up the stairs or sit and, like, find a room where there's nobody in there and just have, like, a moment of silence and not have to talk to anybody. I do feel like you have to prioritize it, and you also have to communicate your needs, like you were mentioning with your husband. Like, I have kids here with me, so it's a little bit different. I don't have anybody here that, can help me or support my rest,
Yeah.
but like, hey, as soon as I get like, if I did, for instance, like, working 12.5-hour days, like, if I got home and I had young kids, I would have to say, "Hey, like, as soon as I get home, I need, like, 30, 40 minutes just to, like, recharge and have a moment alone after having a long day of just constant being overstimulated," and
Stimulation. Yeah.
mhm. So I would need to communicate that to my partner if I lived with them and, like, challenge my inner critic. I do that now
Mhm.
because I am hard on myself
Yes.
about it. I will still have thoughts of, I'll make my list and I will, oh, what is that word? I'll get too hopeful about the tasks I can complete in a day. And so at the
Mhm.
end of the day, if I, look at my list, what did I forget to do? If it's something that, can wait until tomorrow, I have to, keep retraining myself, it's gonna be okay, the world's not gonna end, you are completely prepared for tomorrow, and look what you've already accomplished today, you should be proud of yourself, so
Yeah, we don't take the time to actually look at all the things we've accomplished. I think we just
mhm.
keep thinking, I gotta do more, I gotta do more, I gotta do more. And I think it's important to stop and think, hey, I just did all of this today. Like, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to define your worth and how much you can run down your energy by doing every little tiny thing. I think it's just as much of a success if you use that, certain times to just rest and rejuvenate. It's just all about my self-care now and taking care of myself. And my days off, what I have started doing, I've been setting timers to do certain things. So, if I wake up at 7 o'clock on a day off or something, it's like, okay, I'm gonna rest and relax and journal and budget or whatever I'm gonna do, whatever I can do while I'm sitting down. I'll use that as a rest and recharge moment while I drink my coffee and just have silent time. And I'll do that from 7 to 9. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna set my timer now. I'm gonna clean the kitchen for I'll set my timer for an hour. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get done what I can get done in an hour. And it's like, okay, after this, I'm going to eat and I'm gonna work out. And I'll take as much time doing that as I want to do because that's something that's good for me. And
Yeah.
and then I'll set my timer again. It's like, okay, I'm gonna try to complete these tasks during this time. And then after that, I'll take a minute to kind of see what I've accomplished or what else I need to do and kind of regroup with myself.
I
And just
like
do that
that.
and just do it in small doses. And so I've been I don't know where I saw that on Pinterest or something. And then so I've kind of been doing that since the first of the year. And that's made
That's
me
a good
feel good.
idea.
Yeah, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is how much I can actually accomplish in an hour. I, if I just work straight
Yeah.
through and I
Then,
don't jump on my phone and I don't have any distractions, this is a lot. So it's
yeah.
and not that you need to reward yourself with rest, but for people that are hard on themselves about taking the time to rest, if a reward system works for you just to allow you to have it, then take it.
Absolutely. And that's the next thing I had on my list was plan your rest.
Mhm.
So even if you have to put it on your calendar or whatever, it kind of takes away from it. It's more of a plan. It's a thing on your list. Put it on your to-do list. Rest. Let
Yeah.
me check that off my list. And also kind of creating rituals. We've kind of mentioned our morning routines. Any kind of routine where you're daily working rest into your routine. We both do that in the morning. And I also rest in the evening with my husband before we go to bed. If you can kind of make it a routine, it'll just happen naturally, whatever you can fit into your schedule.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
definitely mentioned challenging the guilt.
yeah, I don't feel as guilty. What I do sometimes feel guilty about though is when I have to cancel plans. I was supposed to go on a date tonight, and yesterday I started feeling sick, and I couldn't tell if it was sleep deprivation or if it was because I was getting sick or am I dehydrated? And it's just like, you know what? I don't feel good. I'm gonna cancel this date now. And I did feel bad about it, but instead of
Yeah.
saying hey, I need to cancel, I was like, hey, can I reschedule this? So that's what's hard for me.
Yeah.
I'll make plans, and then when the plans come, it's like I need to be resting instead of doing this. So I do struggle with the guilt of canceling, but a lot of times I will choose myself. And this is entertainment plans, that going out and having fun, not oh, someone's in the hospital. You know what I mean? It's a little bit
Right.
different, but
But I
I
agree. I used to be bad at like over scheduling myself, even if
yeah.
it's with friends and stuff. I would just commit to everything that was presented to me
Mhm.
without thinking about, hey, I need to rest in there.
Yeah. So
I do that on vacations a lot too. And it's hard for me because,
oh,
like,
yeah. You wanna fit everything
I don't,
in.
yes, like it's vacation. Like, I think of this as like a valued time where I want to experience things. And I typically don't schedule in rest so much during the vacation unless it's like spending a couple hours at the beach or something. But now I've made it a point to always have a day off when I return from vacation
Absolutely.
before I go back to work. So that way I can just kind of regroup, recharge before I go back and be overstimulated again.
100%. I will always choose that. Because really, you do need, like, a vacation after your vacation. I
Hmm.
feel like I do. At least a day
Oh,
or
yeah.
2.
Some of us may have ideas of rest as being lazy. I know that is something I was constantly told, that I'm being
Mhm.
lazy anytime I rested. And we really have to reframe how our brain sees that. And it's something I've like cognizantly sitting on the couch resting. And I've said to myself, okay, I'm going to rest for a while now. And then these thoughts start creeping in of, oh, you're being lazy. Oh, you could be doing this. Who's going to
Mhm.
do this if you don't do it? And I've had to like sit there and be like, no, I deserve this rest. This rest is going to help me to take care of myself and others. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. 100%. I still think like that too, but I'll still just lay there. Like today, I'm about to be resting all day today. It's freezing here. It's 20 degrees outside in Michigan. I'm not going out there.
No. No, that sounds horrible. Although I'll probably go to the gym later.
I was thinking
Just
about
got to.
if I feel better, I may, but I have all the equipment here that I need to do that too.
Yeah. And anytime you're not feeling, so when I was just sick for 2 weeks, I texted you, I'm like, "I feel bad that I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks," especially because I was getting such a good momentum going,
Mhm.
and then I didn't go for 2 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, like, everything's gonna be, like, back to 0," and it wasn't. Like, the weight loss that I had gotten actually maintained, so that was good. I will say my first day back with my trainer, she had me do this exercise where it was like a balance ball and I had to stand on it and then do a
Whoa!
squat on it. Yeah, so it literally engaged like every single muscle in my legs and they were definitely sore the next day, but
And you were obviously, like,
it's a
holding on
good
to something
sore.
while you did this? Or was it like a
It's
half
like
ball?
it's a half ball, yeah. So
Yeah.
one side's flat and the other side, and you put it upside down so the ball side is on the ground and
Yeah.
then you're standing on the
Oh,
flat part.
did you feel like you were gonna fall?
Yeah. She wanted me to stand on one leg and squat and I was like,
Ma'am,
"No." Absolutely not.
you shoulda asked her to show you that she
She
does
did
it.
it. She does it. She does every exercise before she has me do it. She could do it, but she's a personal trainer. Like, she's
Yeah,
got the muscle tone for it and the control. Because it does, I mean, it makes you engage your abs, it makes you engage everything, and I'm working on it.
good.
So,
I
but yeah,
wonder how
so I
much
got
those
back
things
in and
are.
it's fine.
Yeah. Good,
The
I'm
balance
glad.
ball, they might have
Yeah.
them at like Five Below or something.
Oh, it that's what frustrates me about working out. I do feel like I lose my progress and my momentum with that when I start not to feel well.
Mhm.
Because you have to rest. If you don't rest during the time that you're sick, you're gonna make yourself worse, and you're not gonna be feeling
Yeah. And I rested. And I'll tell you what, actually, there is, and this was an interesting social experiment. So this time that I was sick, I mean, I was sick. My O2 was staying at like 93%. It was bad. I took 3 days off of work because I was sick.
Mhm.
And people were reaching out to me to check on me, but also they kind of had this undertone of like, "Oh, wow, you must really be sick," because I don't normally take days off when I'm sick. And that
Mhm.
tells me a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying that? Oh, you must really be sick." Yeah, I fucking called out. What? Yeah, I'm sick. Why? Oh, you must really be sick. Yeah.
Because they don't expect you to prioritize yourself.
No, and because not a lot of people do that we work with, and I know that I typically don't. So it was unexpected for me. So they were like, "Oh,
Mhm.
she never calls out. Like she just will work from home if she's sick." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't want to log in and have the mental stress of reading your emails." I know that I don't have like a physically taxing job. Mentally, I needed the mental rest as well. My body
Mhm.
needed every part of me to check the fuck out.
For sure. I do feel guilty for myself when I call in when I'm sick. Like, I'd rather just go to work sick and suffer through it and use my call-in days for when I feel good.
I know, and
But
that is what I felt guilty about.
yeah, but I was sick, like, in September, like, very sick, and I had to call off. Like, there's no way I would have made it through the day. And
I
yeah,
know,
they
that's
do.
why I told my coworker because we don't have, like, separate sick days and PTO days, it's all the
Mhm.
same bank, and I'm
Mm.
like, "Yeah, I'm pissed that I'm taking those f days I could use for vacation for sickness, but here we are."
Yeah.
Do you
They're
guys have
needed.
separate, like, sick days and PTO days?
No. So I could tell them like, "Hey, I want these days for like, I wanna use some PTO days these days," and they could schedule me if they can. I don't really ask for PTO days, but when we call in, they do take our PTO and it's the same PTO and it's the same, like I guess it is the same because if I were to take vacation,
Yeah,
they're gonna take pull from the same PTO.
from the
So
same bank,
yeah, so
gotcha.
they don't give us like sick versus that. Now we're only allowed to call in like we're not allowed to call in that many times a year. But
Yeah.
the first warning, like I've called in maybe like 5 times last year, and I never received a verbal warning. And so once they
Mm,
give you a verbal warning, that counts as like the first time. They have to
mhm.
catch you and actually give you the warning for it. And I haven't received that yet. I don't know. It's they don't care about us, they if we're sick, like I don't know, I'm gonna go get FMLA or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, like, we get sick too, especially working in healthcare.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I mean, you're taking care of sick people, like, it's inevitable. The place is just fuming with bacteria and viruses.
It is, yeah. A lot of people have COVID, RSV, pertussis, pneumonia, bronchitis, all the
Yes.
things, the
And
flu. Ugh.
that's what I was thinking of last night, like, it gets so bad during flu season in healthcare
Mhm.
because you call out and then people are coming in and then they have to or they're staying over their shift and they're missing their next shift, which you just like inevitably keep being short because you're moving people around to fit this shift and you're taking away from
Mhm.
there, and it's so hectic. I don't miss that at all. I
No,
don't, but I
and
have guilt around it. It's a weird thing.
yeah, and our floor is pretty well staffed as of right now. I know there's a lot of unhappy people, but like, we will staff other floors, like, they pull our aides and will leave us with 1. We'll have, like, 4 aides scheduled, and they'll pull them all for to staff the other parts of the hospital, like, okay.
Yeah, that's frustrating. It's like you guys did the hard work of getting fully staffed and now you have to give your staff to someone else that's not.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah.
frustrating.
So
We've definitely talked about communicating our needs to others if
mhm.
external pressures contribute to your guilt. One thing that I actually feel very honored that, or maybe not honored is the right word, lucky that I have a partner who at no time is going to pressure me to be productive, which some people could see that as negative or a positive. But for me, I need that. I need to know that I can rest without guilt. And I try to be very mindful of myself in allowing him to rest
Mhm.
versus, and it's a balance, right? Like things have to get done around here. So even just saying, hey, I need these things to get done this week, whenever you can fit them in, that'd be great. But not being like, hey, right. Because my mom would be like, right this instant, I need you to go do this. And you're like, I'm in the middle of playing a game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I never want that feeling on my partner. But I know that like anytime I am resting, it's more internal forces of saying like you shouldn't be. It's never him like, oh, why aren't you doing this? And I don't want to be like that to him, you know?
Yeah. You're pretty self-motivated to
Very
do
much
things.
so.
Yeah. I do like to get everything done though. And then I do feel better about resting when I do complete everything.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever not be like that.
I do feel like I can rest more when I've checked off everything on my list and I'm like, there's nothing
Mhm.
else on my list. But there's also always something.
For sure. For sure.
But if you make that list for the day, maybe it's 3 things. Maybe I'm gonna sweep, mop the floors, clean the kitchen, whatever, do the laundry. You get those things done, yeah, there's other things that could be, could I wash my baseboards? Certainly. I'm not gonna do that today. There's no need to do that today. And that's why I've been having, like, internal conversations with myself because I typically, like, every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday is, like, my clean the house day where I just
Mhm.
not, like, clean everything, but all the counters, all the floors, mop, steam mop, all that stuff. And then there's days when I'm like, "You know what? I'm not gonna deep clean the bathroom today because I don't feel like it."
For
And
sure.
nobody else is gonna see it besides me and my husband, and he certainly doesn't care.
Right. Right. Do you have anything else, my dear? I think we did good on rest and
No.
rejuvenation.
Yeah. Just take the pressure off yourself, and if you have someone that's externally putting the pressure on you, I haven't experienced that so much, maybe in a past relationship I have, but have that conversation with them
Mhm.
of, "Look, this is what I'm gonna get done today, and then I'm gonna rest. If you need something else done, let's talk about who needs to do what, because I need to rest.
Yeah.
And you need to
I
rest."
for sure. I did date a military man once, and he was ugh, it was everything was always out of place. It was like constant an anxiety about things being perfect. Yeah, never again. They were,
Mm-mm.
they're trained to be like that, I suppose, but that was terrible to be with somebody
Yeah.
that needed everything to be, like, constantly perfect. It was, like, never the ability to rest, and I've learned that when I take time to rest, the time I spend with my friends and my family and, like, my relationships flourish more when I show up well rested.
Yeah. You can show up as a better you. You're not
Mhm.
exhausted. You're not, yeah. It all over is a good thing. So please rest, especially
Yes.
in the winter.
I was just gonna say that, yes.
Well, we hope you all have a great rest of your week. Definitely like and subscribe us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to share us with your friends and loved ones.
You can also find us on YouTube, TikTok.
All of the above. Namaste.
Thank Namaste.